we were kind of curious what they were going to do with that first pick. I know a lot of people were not too thrilled that we jumped up, but I think when you look at everything kind of play itself out, I'm okay with them jumping up and getting the kid from LSU,
Delaney. Well, for me, it took the grade down from a lot of people from an A to a B for what they had to give up. The bottom line is, if he's a Pro Bowler and he's a guy that they think he is, nobody cares. If he's not the guy, they gave up a lot of capital, being an early third and an early fifth. So yeah, I think all is telling. If he comes out and this year he's up for Defensive Rookie of the Year and he's your guy for the next 3 or 4 years, then no one cares if you gave up your entire draft for a guy that can be that corner.
For sure. And some of the guys that you hear talking about, even, we had on, our last episode, we had on Pat Surtain, Senior, and he was talking about, draft and some of the stuff I've seen come out. Brandon Flowers is another guy that came out and said that Delane's a dude. He said he's a guy. He liked him a lot. And, so I've heard stuff from B-Flow. I've heard stuff from Pat Surtain that all said that they really liked the Chiefs pick there at 6. So I like it. I'm excited for him, man. They said they liked him, around minicamp and all that, coming in. So I'm okay.
I mean,
I'm okay.
Only time will tell. Only time will tell. And they've, guys around the league, not local guys, but guys around the league, said he will fall under that tier. He's not going to be Surtain Jr. He's not going to be Stingley, but the tier underneath, which is a very high level.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
sure. There's not too many guys coming out of the draft that are going to be Surtain. You know what I'm saying? No,
but you're trading up to the 6th overall pick. So, but if he is
okay, so tell me, if you were the GM, what would you have done in that position? You would have stayed at 9 and took who?
I would have traded back. I mean,
you would have traded back?
I would have traded back and garnered more picks. If you look what the Buffalo Bills did, Buffalo traded back in each of the rounds and garnered. They got a ton of picks. I mean, once again, if you listen to guys who get paid a lot of money, and I'm not talking local analysts, but guys that say, like, this was they had probably 4 true number 1 picks. Mendoza wasn't going to be it, and it wasn't going to be the running back from Notre Dame, because what we did with Love,
right?
Yeah, what we did. But I mean, I think that they did as good as they could possibly do. I just didn't like personally giving up a 3rd and a 5th round early for that, because a lot of people thought Mansour would be there at 9, and so but you don't know.
But a lot of people said that either Washington or New Orleans was going to take him.
Yeah, I think a lot of that was smoke. I mean, because once again, no one's trying to help out the Chiefs, so everyone's going to be like, "Hey, everyone's playing the cards." Bottom line is they got him. I hope he's a guy. If he's a guy, it's awesome. He's got to be a guy at day one. And there's one thing that Spags does not like to do is play rookies, and he's going to have to be out there and be a guy out there day one, which is awesome. It's a great time. There will not be any time to be like, we'll see what he does week 9. He's going to be a guy week 1.
I think before the draft ever took place, obviously all the work that these guys put in, this offseason has been different because they've had so much longer of an offseason. And I don't care who you talk to. If you talk to ticket takers, you talk to people in the front office, you talk to players. After the run we've had the last 7 years, everybody, when we did make the playoffs, whether they want to admit it or not, was a big, like, man, I can breathe for a minute. People had time off. People didn't have to go from winning a Super Bowl or losing a Super Bowl straight into being 3 or 4 or 5 weeks behind the 8 ball to get to the draft.
Yeah.
So I really feel like the time they put in, they knew they had to go get to the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, it was organizational fatigue for
sure. Yeah, they had to go get to the defensive side of the ball. I think Spags is super, super excited about the corner. I like him.
I don't know how you couldn't be if you're Spags.
That's what I'm saying. And Peter Woods, I think Peter Woods is going to be an instrumental part. I don't think he's a guy who comes in and starts and has 8 sacks, but I like his motor. Well, I think Peter Woods brings a lot to the middle of that defense.
Once again, and I've said this, if Peter Woods is the 2024 version of Peter Woods, he's the steal of the draft. That guy was a conscious top 10 overall pick in 24 had he been able to leave.
Right.
He was an absolute monster on a really disruptive Clemson defense. And they kind of but not only him, their entire team, including their defensive side of the football, fell off a cliff.
Right.
So the great thing about Woods, and I think what you have to be excited about him, is playing alongside Chris Jones and kind of learning what a pro's pro and a guy that's great, what Chris Jones brings, not even from the football side. Because, Woods is a smaller as a smaller guy. Right. And it was weird because he kind of fluctuated from 320 to 300 pounds at Clemson.
Right.
But like they said, like a Grunhard who was breaking down film said, he gets pinged around a lot, but he also gets pinged around where he's making plays in the backfield.
He's quick off the ball.
Yes, and the other thing is, like they said, not that Clemson's not or college is not where you bulk up and get bigger, but considering he's only 21 years old and he gets into an NFL weight program that I bet he plays about 15 pound heavier. I bet he plays about 315. And if he can keep his quickness and his explosiveness, and he's 2024, you're talking very, very much so an opportunity to be one of the best interior linemen. I think Coach Reed was a little bit reluctant when he kind of had the Aaron Donald comparisons, and then he kind of walked it back. But I think that kid, once again, if he's a 2024 version, he could be the steal of the draft, picking him where they got him there.
I'm excited. I know Spag's excited. They went after a lot of defensive guys, and I think that was, obviously on purpose because we lost a lot of pieces. I like our first two picks in the first round. I like both of them. I like Mansour Delane and Peter Woods a lot. You go to our second round pick, who was the 40th pick overall, and you got the kid R. Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma. What do you think of him?
I think he is. I think that, and it's kind of encouraged for me personally because all of Spags' guys are long guys. They have, and it hasn't like transferred onto the field of guys that are big sack guys. This guy's R. Mason's a very quick twitch bend guy that can get to the passer. And I think if you see a lot of what he did, he is explosive. And I think that they want, and the same with the Peter Woods, he's explosive. So I think they're kind of saying, hey, our philosophy wasn't necessarily working and we weren't able to get to the quarterback without blitzing. I think these guys will give you. So I'm okay with it. I mean, there was the kid from Auburn that went just right after him, and then the Zion from Columbia. I wanted to see him as well.
A lot of dudes in the KC media, especially guys over 8'10", like St. John, those guys. They really wanted us to go get him. They said the kid's got a motor.
And the kid from A&M, from Rockers, the Cassius.
Cassius Howell to Rockers. So, he went to the Bengals.
But you have guys that absolutely like hate the Chiefs, like you always talk. And the guy Skip Bayless, he went on and was like, they got the best pass rusher I wanted the Cowboys to get. He's like, he is going to be, and he used a couple explicitives. So I mean, once again, and I said this early on, there are a lot of people. Trust the process, trust Veach. Veach, you can't really hide behind this and be like, we picked from 31st. What do you expect us to do?
100%.
You picked from 32nd. What do you expect us to do? He's out in front of this. He owned it, and he was making a lot of decisions. And once again, traditional guys that, because if you would have told me, Mason, that's the anti-Steve Spagnuolo guy. I mean, he likes the guys like a friend of our show, Menahue, the tall dudes, long arms, long lips. So it'll be interesting to see, but I don't think, once again, the guy I respect so much from ESPN was talking about that he said about 6 of them out of the 7 picks, obviously the Nussmeier guy from LSU, which last year, if you're going to it, he is considered the second quarterback off the board. And so he's like 6 of those picks will play and contribute this year. I mean, so if that's the case, that's that's fantastic. I mean, I think but I think Mason will, once again, I think, obviously you're not going to have him on, running downs, or you won't be able to. I don't know how, because he's not big enough to hold up against the run on a consistent basis.
Right.
But you get 2nd and 12, 2nd and 13, 3rd and 11, and you put him in, and then you can do the flexibility with Jones and Peter Woods. Peter Woods played some outside.
Omar Norman Lotz, he's going through right now through his rehab and stuff right now. I get a chance to see him every now and then. I think Omar Norman Lotz going to be ready to go.
Yes.
I think Karloftis is going to be hungry and ready to go this year.
And then Gelati, who showed flashlight. I mean, I think that they got
flashes towards the end of last year.
I think they got a lot younger and a lot quicker and a lot more explosive on the defensive side.
Right.
I think that's what you want.
Had to get younger.
You want to be able to make splash plays on defense. You want to be able to sack the quarterback. You want to, and all that stuff will contribute to them. And the one right now that everyone is talking about is Emmett Johnson from Nebraska.
Right.
You can't go to NFL Network. You can't go to CBS Sports. You can't go to.
We'll get down to him after talking about R. Mason Thomas. But before we get too far, though, we want to say shout out and congratulations, man, to our guy Derek Johnson, who got nominated that night of the draft. That it's going to be him this year, 2026. That's going up in the Hall and the Ring of Honor there at Arrowhead, which is long overdue to me.
Sure,
DJ belongs up there, but DJ was one of our first guests we brought on. Someone I worked for 14 years. So man, shout out to Derek Johnson, man. Not just a client, a friend of the show, but family to us, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've been around DJ a long time.
It's big time and well deserved, and he was excited, and he was, and it is awesome that those guys, that are enjoying it a lot more, when they all get together in the camaraderie. But we had Debo on that night. They're all like, absolutely. DJ was a guy that, obviously his last year, whatever, he went to the Raiders, whatever, but he was Kansas City through and through,
man.
And he did. And his foundation so much for the city, and such a guy that embraced Kansas City and was a big part of those teams. That I wish they would have had some more success under DJ's tenure.
I know.
Once again, did it the right way.
Yeah.
Did it the right way, and was a true Chiefs legend.
Right.
You talk about linebackers, you talk about what his position was. I don't know anyone better in Kansas City.
All-time leading tackler in Kansas City history. All-time leading tackler.
And I always said, he could have had about 5 or 6 more touchdowns. DJ had a lot of drops. I was like, Deej had some drops that I know he'd take back, and he'd be like, man, I know this game here. And he also was part of some of the biggest controversial plays in Chiefs history.
Yeah.
The Mariota shit. He was on a podcast, I forgot who it was, and they were asked about it. He goes, man, I still think about that. They said he had
the quarterback's forward progress. The forward progress was stopped, and DJ hit him, smashed, and the ball went loose, and Justin Houston was going to pick it up and going for a touchdown.
And we lost that game, and that was a game. It was like forward progress.
Yes.
That was shit that
never heard of anything in my life.
No, that was great. But no, for sure, shout out to DJ and shout out to.
It was cool from the last show too when Bo and Pat Surtain, gave their shout outs to DJ. Man, those guys were all teammates and everything. Thank you to Debo, and thanks for Pat Surtain for coming on our last episode. So let's keep moving down the board here, because I really liked our picks. Girls, you interrupted our podcast. We always got to have my little nieces here on set, but sometimes we got to get on them a little bit. Okay, so we're moving right along. Our Mason Thomas, edge of Oklahoma. Let's look at the round 4 pick, bro. Pick 109, and I like this Jaden Kennedy, the quarterback out of Oregon. I think he's another cornerback that I think is going to get some playing time. We always do a good job picking cornerbacks. We got a great defensive back coach, a great D coordinator with Spags. I'm excited for all these defensive picks that Spags gets to add to the defensive side of the ball. We needed some young juice on that side, man.
Yeah, and he's, I didn't watch enough Oregon, but things I've read about him, he's obviously a slot corner.
Right.
He's not going to play outside slot corner, but he's a really good tackler, and he's really physical, and will mix it up at his size. Yeah. And they said he's a real vocal leader inside of the locker room.
Good
he's
special teams guy too, right?
I don't know about his specialties, but I just know that he makes plays and he can play, like I said, inside. But they said he's a tremendous tackler. And that's another thing Delaney gets credit for, Mansour, as being a really, really good tackler.
Right.
I mean, a really good tackler that was a wrestler. Everyone talks about that when he was younger. So he's physical and will get in there. So I think, Kennedy will be a guy that plays on the inside, and hopefully, and a role he excelled in. Hopefully, it allows Shamari to go back and play safety.
Yes.
Which one? He's so much better suited
He's
to
so
be
much more comfortable back there.
to be a safety than he is in the
Right.
slot. So hopefully he can get back there, and that makes your defense even better. But yeah, once again, he's going to contribute. He's going to play. Regarding injury, all these guys are going to have the opportunity. All these guys are have to go expected to play and expected to play against big time rosters in our division alone. With there's no days off. There's no
man.
It's
did you see Delane in his interview when they were talking to him about who his team was growing up? He said his team was the Ravens.
Yeah.
He was like, man, I just used to hate it, man. We could never get past we could never get past the Chiefs, man. But no, yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited for Jaden Kennedy, the cornerback out of Oregon. He was our round 4 pick. Like you said, I think a lot of these guys with young juice are going to play. And like you said, they're going to have to play early, man. We can't wait week 7, week 8, week 9.
we have too many holes. I mean, you don't have the luxury of saying, "No, you sit back and learn with those guys." I mean, they're going to have to jump in and play and play big roles. I mean, play big weroles.
So let's go to we're going to go to the round 5 pick because it's huge for several different things that I think of. But I mean, our running back room, I really like our running back room right now. But this kid really adds some juice to it. Like you said, everybody's talked about the round 5 pick at 161. We took Emmett Johnson out of Nebraska. And there, like you said, there's a lot of people being like, how in the world did the Chiefs get this running back, out of Nebraska there in that 5th round at that time?
Yeah, he was a guy who was extremely productive at Nebraska, and a guy that, catches the ball out of the backfield really well and has, and obviously you hear Coach Reed, and Coach Reed makes comparisons to what Shady McCoy and what Shady did. I mean, and he kept talking about his, ability to make people miss. Once again, they're in shells. You can't tell
of course.
But his film at Nebraska running in the Big Ten, he did a lot of things.
What did he have, 1,500 yards?
And I think, he was a leading rusher, I think.
Rusher in the country, right.
And I think that, but also his ability around the goal line, I think that's going to be your goal line guy.
They said he catches the ball well in the backfield too.
And he has Coach Reed is talking about his lateral to make people miss, and then his immediate explosion out of his run.
Right.
And so they compare him. They first were comparing him to Pacheco, his running style. I'm like, nothing against Pacheco, he was great, but. I always said about Pacheco, he ran so hard, but if he was supposed to go in the 2-hole, oh boy, is going to the 2-hole. I don't care if there was something out wide, out left. He was going. He would run his ass off and run hard, but he had no creativity or no vision.
There was no real vision for him to be able to bounce. You see some guys like, who was the guy I'm thinking of right now that used to kind of tiptoe?
Le'Veon Bell.
That used to kind of tiptoe.
Le'Veon Bell.
Because he would kind of tiptoe up towards the line, and then he had that vision where if he didn't care which number the hole he was supposed to go through, but when he got that, saw the vision, saw a hole, he busted into that hole,
Yeah.
They said Emmett Johnson has a lot of that.